snapped his famous photograph of the brown lady and discharged the revolver right in her face. Welcome to Friday Night Ghost Frights from Haunted Road Media. I'm author and ghost historian Mike Ricksecker. Explore with us. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall is one of the most famous ghost sightings ever, one of the most famous ghost photographs ever taken. Who was she, and why was she haunting Raynham Hall? Raynham Hall rests in Norfolk, England, and the Brown Lady is said to be Dorothy Townsend, originally Dorothy Walpole, the sister of the first Prime Minister of England. Her husband, Charles Townsend, was known for his violent temper, and when he discovered that she had been cheating on him, he began locking her throughout various rooms within Raynham Hall. It's said that he wouldn't even allow her out to see her children, and she eventually died of smallpox in 1726. The first sighting of the acclaimed Brown Lady was in 1835 at a Christmas party. Two of the guests, a Colonel Loftus and another guest named Hawkins, had claimed to have seen the Brown Lady approach their bedrooms at night, noting the dated brown dress, hence why she is named the Brown Lady. They also saw her a couple of other times, and what they ended up noticing was the dark sunken eye sockets that she had and a glowing face about her. These sightings by Loftus and Hawkins ended up resulting in many of the staff at Raynham Hall actually leaving the house permanently. The next sighting was the following year by Captain Frederick Marryat, who was actually a friend of author Charles Dickens and was actually a bit of an author himself, having written many novels about the sea. Well, he didn't actually believe in the ghost sightings at all and wanted to disprove the stories that he had heard. He believed that there were local smugglers in the area anxious to tell the stories and scare people off. It's almost kind of Scooby-Doo-ish if you think about it. His daughter, later in life in 1891, wrote of his experiences. This is what she said. He took possession of the room in which the portrait of the apparition hung, and in which she had been often seen, and slept each night with a loaded revolver under his pillow. For 2 days, however, he saw nothing, and the third was to be the limit of his stay. On the third night, however, two young men, nephews of the baronet, knocked at his door as he was undressing to go to bed, and asked him to step over to their room, which was at the other end of the corridor, and give them his opinion of a new gun that had just arrived from London. My father was in his shirt and trousers, but as the hour was late and everybody had retired to rest except themselves, he prepared to accompany them as he was. As they were leaving the room, he caught up his revolver, "In case you meet the Brown Lady," he said, laughing. When the inspection of the gun was over, the men in the same spirit declared they would accompany my father back again. "In case you meet the Brown Lady," they repeated, laughing also. The three gentlemen therefore returned in company. The corridor was long and dark, for the lights had been extinguished, but as they reached the middle of it, they saw a glimmer of a lamp coming towards them from the other end. "One of the ladies going to visit the nurseries," whispered the young Townsends to my father. Now the bedroom doors in the corridor faced each other, and each room had a double door with a space between it, as in case of many old-fashioned houses. My father, as I have said, was in his shirt and trousers only, and his native modesty made him feel uncomfortable. So he slipped within one of the outer doors, his friends following his example, in order to conceal himself until the lady should have passed by. I have heard him describe how he watched her approaching nearer and nearer through the chink in the door, until as she was close enough for him to distinguish the colors and the style of her costume. He recognized the figure as the facsimile of the portrait of the Brown Lady. He had his finger on the trigger of the revolver and was about to demand it to stop and give the reason for its presence there, when the figure halted of its own accord before the door behind which he stood, and holding the lighted lamp she carried to her features, grinned in a malicious and diabolical manner at him. This act so infuriated my father, who was anything but lamb-like in disposition, that he sprang into the corridor with a bound, and discharged the revolver right in her face. The figure instantly disappeared, the figure at which for several minutes 3 men had been looking together, and the bullet passed through the outer door of the room on the opposite side of the corridor, and lodged in the panel of the inner one. My father never attempted again to interfere with the Brown Lady of Raynham. A very interesting tale indeed, but the next reported sighting that we know of wasn't for another 90 years until a descendant of the Townsends, a Lady Townsend, and her sons had seen the apparition of the Brown Lady. And in that, it was on September 19th, 1936, in which Captain Hubert Provand, a London-based photographer, snapped his famous photograph of the Brown Lady when taking photos for Country Life magazine. He had actually already taken a photograph of the main staircase there at Raynham Hall, but was setting up for a second when his assistant began seeing a vaporous form floating down the staircase. Well, they hurried up, got the lens cap off, and hit the trigger of the camera to operate the flash. It was in development later on that they actually saw the form of what we now know as the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. The photograph was first published in Country Life magazine, December 1936, and then a month later in Life magazine in January 1937. The photo caught the attention of renowned paranormal investigator Harry Price, who interviewed Provand and his assistant Shira, and was impressed by both of them. He didn't doubt their story whatsoever. He stated that he couldn't shake their story and had no right to disbelieve them, and also stated that the negative was innocent of any faking. Of course, there have been many people over the years that have disbelieved that the photograph of the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall is actually real, that the photographer and his assistant conducted a hoax. But that is all purely speculation, and the photograph of the Brown Lady continues to be the most famous in history. Thank you for watching Friday Night Ghost Frights. If you like this video, please leave comments below, and if you have not yet, please subscribe. I'm Mike Ricksecker. Until next Friday night.